Hello again. You are listening to Is This Strange? Stories of the Unusual by KL and Roxy. In this episode, we want to talk about some of the fun things that we have seen since we moved to the San Luis Valley. So, we moved from North Carolina to Colorado. What neither one of us realized until after we moved here is that this is called
The
mystical San Luis Valley. That was interesting.
Yep.
I did not know that it was. And here are all the fun things that it is a hot spot for. UFOs, lots. Like I've said before, we are the ones that had the horse mutilation out near the sand dunes.
Strange military ops up in the mountains that nobody knew about.
Yes.
Sasquatch.
Yes, thank you. Sasquatch.
There are Sasquatch sightings here.
So, just a really quick, brief history of how this valley was formed. We live right across from a giant volcano. It is the largest freestanding volcano in New Mexico. We are only 6 miles if you take roads away from New Mexico, 2 miles or so if you hike it across our neighbor's farmland. We haven't done that. I haven't felt like asking that for permission to do that. There's no need. So anyone that follows me on Facebook and stuff has seen this volcano. It is one of my favorite places. I look at it every morning, and I use it in winter to count when winter is getting here, because as the ice creeps down it.
You can follow the seasons by the look of the mountain.
Yeah. So this is like one of my most favorite sites since we've gotten here. It's just wonderful. But when this volcano blew, it formed our whole valley. Our whole valley is the size of Rhode Island. With one part of the valley is getting weather, it doesn't mean that our part's going to be getting that weather.
It also created all those rifts and canyons that
are head towards Taos and stuff. Yeah.
Right, and that it's the Rio Grande River.
Rio Grande Rift.
Yeah, where the river follows along.
Yes.
So the property that we have is like any other bottom of an ocean, bottom of a sea. This whole area used to be a high elevation.
We were a giant inland lake. Yeah, a giant lake, probably bigger than Lake Michigan and stuff.
It was huge.
So when this happened, a rift opened up, all the water poured out. Now we have a giant underground aquifer. All right, so we're talking though like dinosaur times, okay?
Yes.
All right, so that's the history of this valley. I also learned this history within 2 weeks of moving here.
Because strange things happen here. Lots of history.
Yes.
Lots of history.
Okay, so we have Sasquatch. We have ghosts. And we also have a really cool old railroad that runs by us. We have ghosts. We have alien encounters. We have UFO sightings like all the time. We have a sand dunes that can't be explained. They try to explain it, but when you actually ask them, they're like, yeah, this is just the answer that we give to everyone, but nobody really knows why the sand dunes is here. Because the sand is so pure and clean, it's not what actually comes off of the mountains.
Nope. It's pure silica. There's nothing. And it's over 300 feet tall and 30 miles around. It's huge. It is absolutely. And when you start to drive up on it, it looks like it's fake because it just rises up out of the floor of the valley and with no explanation as to how it got there or anything.
And when they've done core samples, they found an old forest underneath. Okay, so that is our valley. That is where we moved to. Had no idea that this is where we were moving to, but this is where we moved to. So we're outside one night. We're sitting in our van. It was probably about midnight, I think, because we were having meteorites. So we were out there watching the meteorites.
Right.
Or shooting stars, And it was really cool. And we're watching them go across San Antonio Mountain because that's the way we were facing. So we're watching them go across San Antonio Mountain and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden we had what they have now called monster truck lights, because that is the best way to describe them, is if you've seen monster trucks, they're jacked up really tall, and you have two giant headlights that comes towards you. Okay. The problem, they're higher off the ground than a monster truck even is.
And they're too far apart.
And they're about, I think they're about 20 feet apart from each other.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're watching these, and I'm like, dear?
Because it was coming towards us, and you could tell because it was getting brighter, and the lights were farther apart, but they were in sync with each other.
I mean, so they're just
like something driving towards us, but it wasn't anything.
Yeah, so they're just coming across this field where nothing is in it. Now, what this field does have that year was barley or rye, something like that. But they have a waterer, and I'm familiar with the water because they have one of those water systems where the little thingy moves throughout the field and waters it. And it has a light that flashes. Okay. So I know what this looks like. The light flashes, plus being from North Carolina, I've seen these my whole life too. These lights flash. They flash on, they flash off, they flash on, they flash off. Okay?
Okay.
So that was not this light.
No.
Because that's just one singular light. These were two lights just coming straight at us while we're sitting in this van. And then they were gone. They just blinked out. It was
it's important to say for one, I don't even think the water was going that night.
No, it wasn't.
Because it was later in the season. They don't usually water.
No, but I'm just debunking that there was.
And the land behind it is BLM land.
Yeah.
Which is government owned, and there's nothing there, no roads.
Nope.
It's bumpy, it's rocky. There's no way to just drive across this land.
Yeah.
So it's, covered in
not that fast anyway.
No,
I mean, you can drive on it, but you also generally, if we've ever seen people out there, they're driving sideways. They're never just like aiming their headlights to go onto someone else's farmland.
Yeah, these lights were heading north towards us, and the road way far away at the base of the mountain heads away from us, so you don't see it.
Yeah.
So
no, these were, and they were like really far up off of the ground. Like I said, even higher than monster trucks, and they're about 20 to 30 feet apart from each other. So these are heading right towards us, and we're like, do we get out? Do we go into the bus? This is when we were still living in the bus and not the house, and we're like, do we get out? Do we run into the bus? And we're like,
we'll just sit here for a little while.
Yeah, we're just going to sit here and hope they don't see us.
We don't want to get abducted by aliens. So the lights disappeared.
So I'm like watching my clock too to make sure that I'm like documenting this time to know that no time has passed. I don't want to be sitting out there at like midnight and then it's 3 a.m.
And meanwhile, there's still a couple of meteors that are,
shooting stars and stuff.
Now, the important thing about shooting stars that you have to remember is they come down at an angle from up high to down low. Okay. And so we're sitting and waiting, and we're watching these, and we're like, making sure that, no aliens are going to come and flash lights at us. And we're watching the meteors, and there's a ton of stars because this is a dark skies area. So everything, when we don't have cloud cover, which is not that often, you can see every star in the world, especially if you sit out in the dark for long enough. Okay, so we're watching these meteors. We're looking for them because you have to watch for them. If you blink, you miss them. The problem is, a couple of what we thought were stars shot off like a meteor, but they went straight up. First one and then another one. And I was like, did you see that?
And that was right. Yeah.
That was right after.
And then the lights left.
Yes. So ping, straight up in the air. Straight up disappeared. Like a reverse meteor. And not even at an angle, but straight.
Yeah, just straight up.
The freak up. And we're like, okay. And we like jumped out of the van and ran. And moved as fast as we could, at least, to the RV and then locked the door. Like that was going to do anything, right?
if they can abduct you out of a vehicle, I'm pretty sure they can take you out of a bus.
Yeah.
But you always feel safer behind a locked door.
Yeah, so that was real, and I don't think we turned the lights off for quite a while after that.
I know I wasn't going to look outside. There was no way I was looking out a window.
I know, and here's Tucker, our little dog, going, I want to go out and pee. And you're like, no, you're waiting. No.
All right, so you tell me, is this strange? And we will catch up with you on another episode. Bye.
Bye.